Huh? Hi. This isn't a microphone, but I feel like I should be holding something. And it feels right. Feels good to hold something in my hand while I talk. Do I have actual microphones I could do that with? Yes. But do I want to go downstairs and record? No. I want to be upstairs. Because I have someone from Facebook Marketplace supposedly coming to buy something. I am in cleanup mode, much like the SBC jokes. Actually, no, they're not. Like they're far from cleanup mode. All right, I'm gonna stop holding that. That's dumb. Sometimes I don't know what to do to start these things, and make sure things are happening. So I see Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. I always appreciate it when people hop into the chat as soon as like the stream starts. I know like there's like at least 17 seconds. Sometimes it feels a lot longer of a delay with the chat, but it helps me to know like I've got things working. Because I'm working off the TV way over there. It's over there. What is it doing? Okay, we are going to talk about the SBC and what happened. If you don't care about that, that's okay, because maybe we will have time to talk about other things. So let me know. There's always a thing with these kind of chillish kind of streams where people are like, I don't want to talk about this. And it's like, okay, well then throw in the chat what you do want to talk about. Because then we can know, and we could talk about that thing. I'm fine with talking about other things. But we should start off with the SBC because I've had enough people ask me what I thought happened. I don't mean to be bullish, but it just is exactly what I thought would happen. Is what happened. So, like, they had basically three different things, right? We talked about this on Monday. That there would basically be the ERLC trying to abolish it. That failed. That failed by a significant amount. Like it was like 57% voted to keep it, which I know is like not great when you think about it. Like it's an institution, like 42% are like, we want this thing gone and fire that guy. That's pretty aggressive. But when you take in the scope of just how big the SBC is and just like how volatile everything is and polarized, like there's gonna be like, you're not going to get like a 80-20% vote about controversial things. Everything becomes this bigger story right now. So while it sounds like awful to say that 42% wanted to get rid of the ERLC, and that's not to say like you don't have to like the ERLC, by the way. I'm not a proponent of the ERLC, but to me, it's not even about the ERLC. It's about what it stands for. And basically a rallying cry for far-right conservatives within the SBC, because when you're talking about the SBC, you need to remember it is conservative. Like, just you look at the Baptist Faith and Message, and it is very conservative. But you do have some people on the outskirts, but that's always going to happen when you have a large group of people together. So I think it's like basically a rallying point for a lot of people, but that failed by a significant amount. I don't remember what the last vote was, but I would imagine that would be pretty similar. And remember, we talked about on Monday how that was off a whim, like that was just a little whim that Tom Askell had. I'm going to turn down this microphone just a little bit because it looks like it's coming in a little hot, and I want to make sure I'm not clipping too bad. So that failed. Then there was the amendment to the motion that was already looked at, which was limiting the role of pastor to qualified males. And there was another amendment to that to basically say any time that someone is called a pastor, it has to be a man. Because some people were like, hey, well, we call our youth director a youth pastor, or a children's director a children's pastor. Are you going to, like, so there was some confusion. And on that one, it failed again. Like that didn't pass. And honestly, I think it probably would have been helpful. Some people actually brought up some really good points about how, every year you have some of these churches like Saddleback, when Rick Warren went and, gave his address in, was it Anaheim? And he was basically like, hey, I've been in the SBC for years and years and years, and now you guys want to toss us out because of this. And they basically had to argue the merits of that and basically let the credentials committee decide what it means for female pastors. And I actually think that there is some wisdom in this new amendment that was like, hey, let's get it away from the credentials committee so they don't have to argue this every year of having someone come in and it's like youth pastors, but they teach like the college age people as well. What is that, a pastor? Like that whole debate, I think that could have been clarified with that thing. So I was kind of surprised that one didn't pass, given that, basically it is the SBC's stated position that only men can be pastors. So I was expecting there to be a little bit more clarity on that with that one, I think it's clear enough, but I get the wisdom of not having to debate that, off and on when some church comes across. The idea is that you wouldn't have those churches. But yeah, and then there was the financial accountability stuff. And that just went nowhere. In some odd ways, man. The SBC, these guys who are in power, they can wiggle out of things whenever they want, and it's very interesting to watch it happen. But this request for getting basically them to clarify how much money everyone is making, specifically like the head honchos, like where is the money going, where is it coming from, all of that kind of stuff. And they're just not going to do that. So that's interesting. They basically referred it to another committee, and I got Tommy Boy sitting here, just right there, just a little bit in there, just for fun. But they're basically just going to have another committee go through the hoops that the people want, but they're not going to do anything about that because a lot of the people who are on stage don't want that to be known. Like these SBC presidents, I think it was, who was it? Bill. I think Bill made a point in the comment section on Monday that, that's actually not a lot. When I was talking about the 90,000 that Tom Askell makes just from founders, that's not that much for an executive position, and history and education and all of that. And that's a fairly good point. I think I would disagree on that one, like it's a podcast. He's not, like he's also a pastor, and he's getting paid from the church. How much money is he getting paid from the church? Essentially, how much money do you need? That's really my thing, is like, do you really need that much? If it's supposed to be Founders Ministries. But that is, I think, something that needs to be discussed more in the future, is like how much these guys are making. And a lot of them don't want people to know. But what I got out of the SBC this year is, once again, abuse is gone. Like everyone who was talking about it a couple years ago, they were very loud for about a year. And then they just got quieter and quieter. I think some of them, I don't want to get too specific, but I think that there was some threats, not necessarily like stop talking about this or you'll lose your position, but basically that stop talking about it, or you're not going to be as influential within the SBC. I think a lot of that was starting to happen. The Guidepost Solutions report, didn't have as much found out about it. Like there wasn't like we found 200 abusers, like that kind of thing. And so people just thought like, hey, it's not as widespread as we thought. And so they just stopped doing stuff. Like there are specific people who continue to keep trying to push that ball. But that ball was going uphill, and it was basically Atlas, and it wasn't a ball, it was a boulder. And they just decided this year that they're just not going to do anything. I never know how to say his name, but Jorg, it's like the weirdest spelling. It's all vowels. Like Jorg, Steve Jorg, the president of the executive committee, he basically said that the database, which was at one point like the main thing that we were talking about, because remember, all of that stuff really started because they already knew that there were problematic pastors with this kind of stuff in their backgrounds, and they had a list, and then they just didn't tell anyone about it. And, you know, and they didn't go on a TGC podcast waving the list around, I guess. And so they used to say, like, this is the thing that we're going to do. We're going to have a database. And then they went to, we're going to have a website, and the website's coming. We just have to go through some legal, you know, hoops. And then all of a sudden we'll have that for you at some point in the future. And then it just went away. And then Jorg got up this year and said, like, this is the quote, "It's not a focus for us at this point." So the main thing that all these abusers or abuse survivors were really pushing and trying to get, you know, into the hands of the average church, and the thing that the messengers at the time said they wanted the most, they just kept on punting it until no one cared anymore. And like 2 years ago, I saw that coming. Like, because again, like, I've been in the church world for so long, like I know how manipulators work. And a lot of times it is under this idea of just like, things aren't being done the best way. It could be as simple as windows. The church needs new windows. Well, there's one guy in the church who doesn't want windows, even though everybody else wants new windows because the windows are jacked up. There's like holes in some, there's duct tape on others. Like they need new windows, and there's one guy who doesn't want it. So what he says is, when they get like a couple different quotes, is, "Oh, I think I know a company that could get it to us for cheaper." And they go, "Okay, well, you know, we're all reasonable people. We would like to do it cheaper. Let's do it the best way that we can." And then that guy just doesn't get back to people. And then you go like a year, because no one's like at the church like calling him every, you know, week and trying to get him to do the thing. Like, it's kind of awkward. Everyone's trying to be patient and meek and mild and patient with one another. And so that guy just never gets back. And then all of a sudden he goes like, "Well, actually that guy's not in business anymore, but don't worry, I'll get a couple more, or maybe you could work on this, or actually there's a bigger problem that we need to deal with." And that's how this stuff happens. So like a couple years ago, I started seeing the red flags of just like, oh, they're not going to do anything about this. They're going to wait until the people don't care about this as much. And they'll bury it in all kind of bureaucracy and just wait. And it worked. And it sucks. Like, the thing that so many people were really fighting for, the SBC, and I'm not saying it's everybody, but there are specific people. Tom Askell is one of those people. All right, I don't hate the guy. There was a comment on the thing on Monday saying like, "Wow, you just really hate this guy." No, I don't. I don't know the guy, but I could see a manipulator from a mile away, and that guy was doing it. He was doing it because, again, the thing, like I said on Monday, not to just beat a dead horse, but like I said on Monday, it's always like, oh, there's a better way to do this. There's a better way to do this. But when you keep on saying that there's a better way to do this and you never come up with the better way, like you never come up with an alternate plan, it means you don't want to do this. Or at least you don't think it's important. It's either unimportant or you don't want to do this. That's what it is. And that's what Askell did. And it worked. And I don't think he's alone. I think that there's a bunch of people, even people who might have been praying about abuse from the stage down there in Dallas. I think that there are plenty of people who just secretly don't want it done because their friend might be, get tarnish on his name, or, just even the brand of the SBC could be hurt, or even it could be as simple as money, because of the money that gets sunk into these things. So that's probably the biggest thing. Like, I know everyone wants to talk about, like, oh, the SBC, they did so many good things. Like, look, I'm against sports gambling too. Like, I hate that literally every NBA podcast, every NBA YouTube video has this thing for DraftKings, or has like some ad for some gambling thing, or like Underdog gambling. That's a thing, I guess. Bad name. What a terrible name. Who would come up with a name like that? But like, they just have all that kind of stuff. And while it's good for the Southern Baptists to say, we don't like that, well, is that really a problem in your churches? Like, because the issue is abuse. Like, the problem that has been visibly demonstrated throughout the last 5 to 6 years is the issue of abuse within Southern Baptist churches and within Southern Baptist entities. And I'm not saying it's super widespread, but it is an issue. I don't see a lot of gambling issues within the church. I don't see the deacons getting into like, you owe me $20 because Tyrese Halliburton only had 19 points and not 20. Like, I don't see a lot of that. So I don't, it's virtue signaling to a point. Like, is it good virtue signaling? Sure. But it's like, it doesn't really mean a lot. Calling for an end to baby deletion. Like, cool, you've been doing that for 60 years. What's the point? like all that stuff is like good. But like, people are going to use that to be like, oh, we got so much done in Dallas. Well, the main thing that people have been caring about and wanting, and like, they voted on it. Like, if you're in the SBC, you should be like frustrated at the very least, if not angry with your leadership. And I know that there are plenty of people who are. Okay. I know that there are plenty of people who are, but I feel like it's for the wrong reasons. Like, they're upset because of the money stuff and hiding the money, which is a topic. But the topic should be like, there was a clear, like, this is what the messengers wanted. And then leadership and individuals just kind of made them like put it off until now it's not even done. And a lot of the leaders who were in place at that time are not there anymore. And like, how is that any kind of form of Baptist polity? Like, Baptist polity is that, we vote on things. We have committees. There was, Stephanie joked, I got this. I could go over here. Form a committee. Yeah, like, we got committees on committees. Like, there literally is a committee on committees within the SBC. Like, we vote. It's not like some Reformed Baptists do it differently, but usually there's some form of congregationalism. And that's supposed to be how the SBC is set up. It's the will of the messengers. But with that huge topic, which is such a big deal and a sensitive issue, it was the will of the executive committee and a few specific individuals. And that's terrible. So, like, I know that people will be like, oh, it wasn't that bad of an annual meeting. Look at the good things. Clint Presley was funny. Which, like, all right, I will say that one time he was like getting aggressive with Tom Buck was a little weird. Although the whole Tom Buck and Tom Askell like going like, it was like the Ballad of Toms with the microphones. I thought they were gonna start doing like I don't know, some duet or something. But like, he got a little aggressive about like names and not saying names, and I get that. But just rule the thing out of Like, it's just, we aren't going to deal with this. Like, if you really don't want to deal with it. But he had to, so he just kept it going. But, like, overall, it wasn't, like, terrible, except for the thing that they just didn't talk about. Like, so if you're in the SBC, just know that you're not going to do anything about abuse. It's just not going to happen. I mean, for as public, like, people can be like, oh, we just got to, bring it up and keep on pushing. Well, you had all the momentum in the world and it still didn't happen. So something else needs to happen before you can actually do anything about it, at least on a huge scale. What you guys are going to have to do if you're going to choose to continue to be in the SBC is you're just going to have to do it through like the state conventions and try to work it that way, go local and grassroots with it. But honestly, it's usually harder to do that kind of stuff because those people don't care about the huge, news article of victim comes out, like they care about victims. I'm not saying they don't, but like the whole idea of like publicity and putting a light on it. Usually the smaller organizations aren't going to be like, they aren't going to care as much, right? Like it's like talking to people at your local church versus talking to people on Twitter. People on Twitter, they want to be a part of like the overall conversation. People at your church probably don't care. Like, it's just how it goes. So it was okay, but there obviously was the main thing just completely missing from it. I'm going all the way up to the top. Facebook Marketplace, people don't show up for an extra hour. I think so. Let me double check. I'm supposed to be 2 new messages. I'm going to leave it alone. Been waiting to see if you drop something on SBC this year. Yeah, I talked about it on Monday, but yeah, so those are my thoughts about the annual meeting. If you have more specific stuff, we could talk about that too. Hey Dean, long time since I've been able to join live. What's up, Sam? Hope you're doing well. Hey Dean and Underdogs, looking forward to this one. Cool. How's Scotland? How's Scotland? Have you watched the hostile takeover videos on JD Greer and the takeover of First Baptist? Would love to hear your thoughts. No, I haven't even heard of it. That's kind of weird for me. I'm usually like, I pay attention to a lot of stuff, but I haven't even heard of that one. So that's how First Baptist became Summit. Is that the story? That's interesting. I've often wondered that with some of these more established churches that all of a sudden take on like the mega church mentality and like multi-site and like, the glitz and glamour stuff. And like, there's got to be a lot of people who get kind of pushed out with that stuff, like just wanting a more traditional form of church. I want to talk about the SBC. Sweet. Give me your thoughts. Obviously, we'll always need pastors. However, shouldn't a pastor's goal be to equip people so well they almost work their way out of a job, not to consolidate their own power? Definitely shouldn't be to consolidate their own power. Work themselves out of a job? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to do. But yeah, the idea is to equip the saints for ministry, to edify the body, and care for people's souls, which will always be an ongoing job. But yeah, like, not to do everything. When, where, and how did the subgroup start saying the SBC was too woke? I don't know. Like, it's just, it just comes in waves. Too conservative, too liberal, too conservative. On and on it goes. They say they're woke because they're not Christian dominionists. Yeah, I was watching this Founders thing the other day, like what we talked about on Monday, and there was a book that they were promoting about Christian nationalism, like straight up Christian nationalism, something about Christ is King, and the way that they were talking, I was like, that sounds just like Joel Webben. Because there's some Christian nationalists that are just like, we want to see Jesus save everybody, and like we want to see kids grow up in a society that's just permeated with the Bible. And like, I can disagree with some of the takes of those guys, but I don't think the desire is wrong and bad. But this didn't sound like that kind of Christian nationalism. And that's, I guess, a book that Founders put out. The words woke and Southern Baptist Convention do not only never belong in the same sentence, but they don't even belong with the paragraphs of each other. Well, it depends on the writer, apparently. It's hard to amend the Baptist faith and message, though, to old tradition is to be very conservative in adding to it. Yeah. Mule Rider, yo, I'm late. Guess who I met? Besides Dr. Ed, I got to get a picture and meet Colton and Joe Thorne. Whoa, you met celebrities. Oh man, what you do at the SBC? You like vote on the important things? Well, I mean, kinda, but I got some pictures. Not willing to be transparent is a red flag to me, 100%. Yeah, I'm surprised you were able to find Joe through all the smoke. It's just wherever Joe goes, he brings the smoke. My personal theory is that Basham's Shepherds for Sale scared off a lot of messengers regarding the fiscal transparency votes. They don't want this info being used in similar ways. Could be. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more about the people in power at that moment. Like, here's the deal. We still don't even know what happened with Adam Greenway at Southwestern. All right, think about that. He was supposed to be the guy. Like, they were putting him in the books. Like, he was like coming in, and he was young and, had all these ideas. And then he's just gone. He's just gone. We heard about a coffee maker, and that's it. There was talk about financial stuff with that, but we still don't even know what actually happened. So like there's all kinds of that kind of stuff. Again, I will just point everyone to go look YouTube Al Mohler study tour. All right, you tell me that he is a humble servant, and just and financially not just making it rain with a study like that. Like, it looks like Trump's house, with the golden toilets and stuff. Like, that's what his study looks like. I remember when I saw that, I was like, no. What is going on? And I know sometimes it's just gifts, sometimes people give extravagant gifts, but I mean, there's a lot of gifts. So it's just crazy. In our congregation meetings, we literally go over where every single penny goes and how much everyone makes. Yeah, financial transparency within an institution isn't hard. And those that would say that it is, they're hiding something, because it's not. Like, every church knows this. Like, where does the money go? You can see it. And if you can't see it, then you know that that guy, I was going to say a name, but I don't know, someone might be offended. But that guy in the back, he ain't doing the numbers right. And where are those numbers? It's pretty easy to find out. I also got on the big screen several times behind microphone 1 on Tuesday evening at the end. I was in the bluish teal shirt. Everybody go back and you can see Mule Rider. There was one time, I wasn't on X, I dropped one thing, which I think I probably should talk about here in a minute, about Brian Sove. Someone remind me if I forget about that in a bit. But there was one time I was like, oh, I'm going to go on to X and talk about this guy. Because there's one dude, it was on Wednesday, and he had an earpiece in, so I don't know if he was security or if he was just like the guy who's in charge of that microphone, but he was sitting right in front of the speaker on the microphone, and he was just giggling his head off. Like, and you could tell that someone was saying something to him, like, "You're on camera, dude." Like, and like making some jokes like, "Don't smile, bro." And he like just was like giggling, and then just like slowly took out the earpiece and like tried his best, because it was like a tight shot. Like, you could see him very clearly in the shot. A lot of them are like wide, but whichever one that was, it was just right up there, and there was like a few people in the row in front and then the speaker, and he was just giggling his face off. And I want to know what was being said in that earpiece. Like, whoever was that doing that was probably hilarious. Shut up about abuse. Wow, that sounds like the message of Jesus, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, again, I know that some of these people aren't terrible people, but I just don't get how you can be like, we need to focus on the gospel and unity, and at the cost of this. Like, I don't understand that. How can you be unified around the gospel when that stuff is going on? And even if you're like, oh, it's not actually that big of a problem, why is it so hard to deal with then? Like, why is this such a big deal? Like, just deal with it. You know, if it's a few isolated cases, why are we having years and years and years of going through the motions about this, literally the motions about this, and trying to say like, oh, we're going to do something, and then end up doing nothing? Like, what's that all about? There's going to be documentaries made. Oh boy. Tom Askell's probably got like 4 in the can. Underdogs and Dean, check out Benjamin Shepherd, Fairview Baptist, after this live. Is that Fairview in Calgary? Is that what that is? Our pastor announced from the pulpit regularly that a copy of our finances is available to everyone, members or general public. Yeah, a lot of people just have that sitting on the back table. Like, it's just always there. You can see last month's, like, everybody, like the giving. You can see where the money went, how much the pastor made. Like, it's not a difficult thing. And I get it's more complicated because we're talking about a way bigger institution, but it's still pretty easy, right? Like, you got people who are paid. Like, you got people who are paid to do this. This isn't volunteer work. Like, you got people who are paid to do this, to allocate every dime. Then they should be able to come out with a report. Like, it should be part of the whole thing, and give people details. Why not? Well, it's probably because they don't want people to know how much Johnny Hunt made when he was working for the North American Mission Board. You know, like they don't want people to know how much Al Mohler makes. It's kind of awful when you think about it. I'm just going to say that the EFCA is relatively drama-free for now. Just wait until the drama comes for you guys. I'm just kidding. Hit the like button. What's up, Wendy? Along with commenting on the live chat. What? How ironic that they have the meeting in Dallas. So many allegations against pastors in Dallas lately. Yeah, right? Like, you kind of expected someone just to come up and just be like, hey, this happened, like on Sunday, and like bring someone forward, have like casting the first stone kind of deal. Sure does sound like Presbyterians, death by committee. I mean, yeah, kind of similar deal. We're all nerds, you know, like we have all our committees about all different kinds of things. All right, one thing. I watched King of Kings. We watched that with the kids. What was it, last night or the night before? I think it was the night before. Great. Phenomenal little kids movie about Jesus. Like I thought it would be from the trailer. Finally got around to watching it, and it was awesome. Like, I don't know what compels someone to watch that and then write hit pieces or make YouTube videos about how it got something wrong or reworded something that, like, literally Jesus talks about, like, him and the Father, like so many times in that. Like, I don't know the people who are trying to minimize, like they're trying to say that the movie minimizes Jesus' divinity. I don't know how that's even possible. Like, and like there are moments where it's like direct quotes from scripture, and it's like so clear, and it's like really beautiful. Like, the stinking cat is annoying, the kid's annoying, but like the way they display Jesus, awesome. The end, when he like there's like a little montage of like miracles. They even show Jesus casting out a demon in this movie. It's awesome. It's great. If you are into that kind of stuff and you were wondering like, oh, is there a good Christian movie to watch with my kids? Um, that was pretty rad. King of Kings. You can get it on digital now, which is how we watched it. How was Steve Deuce's speech? I have no idea. Did he speak at the SBC? I missed that. There's a lot going on, so I didn't pay attention to everything. Basically, I pay attention to like when the motions are made. Like even like some of the sermons. No, I'll wait. Like, it's okay. Hey, bud, it was my first time at the big national meeting. I have mixed feelings. I think you should. You should have mixed feelings, but like I'm not saying everything is terrible, like or that the things that they decided were bad. I'm just saying like they just continued to punt the ball on the biggest thing. So like that's what's most important to me. But yes, it's almost identical to the David Platt church debacle. Really sad. Okay, interesting. I will Google it. I know very little about the Baptist world. Just out of interest, are you in the SBC or another Baptist denom? I am an independent Baptist, Reformed Baptist. I used to want to be in the SBC. There was a hot second where I was voted in at an SBC church, and then that church had a coup. So very thankful that I did not get down there. Like I was supposed to be down there. And like we had, like, it was during the pandemic, and we had to go to Calgary and get the kids' papers kind of finalized, and we were all set. We were all set to go down there. And then I got a call that a guy on the search committee led a coup and is now their pastor. So pretty crazy. And so that was, I thought, you know, that's where the Lord wanted me, but nope, we're here. We're just hanging out here. Magical Mystery Church's YouTube channel discusses how Dominionism and NAR align closely with Alice Bailey and Luciferianism. We don't belong in the kingdom, Jesus does. I don't know what any of that is. I'm not sure if I want to Google that one, Carol Ann. That seems kind of Magical Mystery Church's YouTube. I don't know if I want to be Googling that. That sounds like an account that will follow me forever. Dean, see if you can find the video for the 9 Marks at 9 events this year. It was pretty good. Each year, 9 Marks has an event at 9, 2 different nights. Yeah, I think they didn't do it for a couple years, right? And then they got back to it. Yeah, it was like well attended too. I saw some pictures online, like 1,000 people. Like that's kind of nuts. All right, let's talk about. I only got a couple minutes here. Like, I can go all the way up. I got 5 minutes here. Just quickly, I want to talk about something that some of you guys sent me. I'm trying to like stay off of X right now, although I check it for basketball stuff. So like, I guess I'm reachable on there, but I'm just like not posting too much and just kind of keep my head down. But some people messaged me, and some people on Twitter even like connected me to threads of Sons of Patriarchy, and talking about Brian Sove, and saying some pretty nasty stuff about him, saying that he was involved with websites, like I think the thing that people talk about it on YouTube is like corn websites, if you know what I mean. There's a P there. Um, it's, yeah. I don't want this, not that this thing is monetized, but just like hurt reach. I don't know how, like I always play it safe with how I talk about things. But they were saying that his email, they found out his email because someone did some like weird, like, I don't know, dark web kind of stuff of like finding out his email. I don't know how legit that thing is. It was like some acronym I've never heard of. I don't know about that stuff. Like I don't mess around with that voodoo, but like some like dark web way of finding someone's email and then finding where it's attached online. I don't know if that's possible, but apparently this guy is saying it. The guy from Sons of Patriarchy is saying it, and then decided to tell the entire internet that Brian Sove was like had an email with some corn website. I want to be very clear. Like, I want to make a clear distinction. I know some people message me, and I'm not trying to like put you guys down, but that is so gross to me. And honestly, I'm slightly offended that people would see that and immediately be like, Dean should know. Makes me really question what I'm doing on this channel. Like, I know followers go further, but don't go that far, guys. I don't deal with that kind of stuff. I don't deal with smear campaigns or gossip. I don't want weird, like I paid some guy in Switzerland $1,000 and he did this deep dive into this person's history and found out he sent these messages on MySpace. Like I don't know about that, and I don't want to know about that, and I don't think the internet needs to know about that, because like even how many Brian Sauves are there in the world? How do you know it's him? And how long ago was it? I understand that people are like, oh, it's like Joel Webbon and what he did in the past. That's very different. That is a thing that if it was done today would be illegal. It is clergy abuse what he did. Having that kind of a relationship with a congregant, whether he claims to be saved or not, should be, it's done. Like your leadership capabilities just over. But I want to make sure that we focus on public things. I don't want to go with smear campaigns, gossip, even about people that suck. I think, like, I forget exactly how he worded it, but I think Brian Sove literally called me a fat loser. So, like, it's not like I like the guy. Like, I really don't. But I want people to be, this is going to sound weird, and I don't mean it so, like, dark, but I want them to hang on their own words, like, on their own actions. Like, if they are going to hang. Like, let them, like, hoisted by their own, what is that? I want to say Levitard, but that's a sports guy. Petard? Is it just petard? But it's just like I don't like that. I don't like that, we turn people into such enemies. Like, obviously I don't like Brian Sauve's theology. I don't like the things that he posts on Twitter. I don't think he's a qualified pastor. I don't think that, he should be someone who's listened to. His stuff about yoga pants, I think is kind of telling. Like there's a lot there, but like let him say the things. This is similar to like the Tim Whitaker thing to me, of just like I don't like, people don't like a person, so they just like bury him as soon as like there's something, and they're trying to find something all the time. They're trying to find something. If you come to me with something like that, And I have had situations that are not quite the same, but like, I found this about this. I talked to this one person and he told me this about this person that you talked about in a video. I will not say that. I will not make a video about it. Like, it's not some like journalistic integrity kind of thing. I'm not a journalist. It's just, that's gossip to me. I can't know that. All right. I don't know even what the acronym was for that dark web voodoo. All right. Like, I'm not qualified to say whether that is true or not true. And if you have stuff like that, don't message me. Don't link me in these conversations. I am not interested in that stuff. What I am interested in is what people say to the public, what put out in the videos and the podcasts, what they write in articles and books. It's fair game for us to evaluate that and talk about the implications of it together. And if that involves their character, it involves their character, you know, like but let that be where we stop. Like let us like stop with their words, their actions that we can know. And like the witch hunt stuff of like, oh, I found something. You may be interested in it. To me, it's gossip. But even if you're interested in it, I am not. So don't send it to me. Don't link me in those conversations. Again, it makes me really like go like, what do people think I do? Like, because I know like the Tom Askells and like the Josh Bices, you know, like those guys, they will say this is a gossip channel, and like makes sense. You know, we talk about you and what you say publicly. You get mad about that. That's fine. You can say what you want. But I really hope you guys get what I'm trying to do, and that let's just deal with things that all of us can know. Like, not, I got some inside scoop on something. Like, bring that to Julie Roy's. Like, if it has credibility, go bring it to Julie. Like, she can do the background research and all that stuff. I don't know how to do that. And I definitely don't want to be involved with an account that immediately threw Tim Whitaker under the bus and is willing to just throw out accusations willy-nilly about, you know, some guy that they don't like online. I don't want to be associated with that. If you guys like that account, go like that account. Don't link me in any of those conversations. I am not interested in like someone trying to build a platform like that. To me, it's gross. And I definitely don't want to do it myself, and I don't want to be associated with it. Now that I've seemingly lectured everyone, I'm going to go pick up my kids at the bus stop. So I got to turn off this stuff and get my butt over there. So thanks for hanging out with me. I hope that some of it was helpful. And like I said, some of you guys have asked me about it. So I thought I would tell you what I thought about the SBC annual meeting. And I definitely wanted to just say that last part. And, you know, I hope I wasn't too aggressive. But I think, like, you can kind of see what I think about this stuff. All right, I will see you guys in another one in the near future. Maybe, probably, I need to get over there. Bye.